Hello, everybody. Just one moment. And we will begin. I'm just going to do a little adjustment. Does that work? Okay. Hold on. I think that will suffice. Hi, how's it going? My name is Kara King. Thank you for joining me today or this evening, whenever you are tapping in. I would like to talk about Ascension, the collective and individual consciousness, and the responsibility we all have when processing for our individual and collective ascension process. Okay, so that's a lot to take in, and if some of these concepts are new, hang out with me and we're going to be making ascension easy. Okay, so, and again, this is Kiraology. Brace with me. So first and foremost, I want to describe to you the collective consciousness. There we go. Let's try that. The collective consciousness. And I'm drawing a circle. And, well, okay. So this is kind of like a membrane, if you will. Let's think of it of like a cellular membrane. All right. And in the center is our Earth and all of her inhabitants. All right. And you and I are one of those beings. In this cellular membrane is the collective consciousness. Okay, so this is literally all of the energy, and I'm going to be just talking about the spiritual, mental, emotional energy of the collective consciousness. So it gets stored in this cellular wall that we're, this is the collective consciousness, all right? And we literally, all of us are on this network, right? So just bear with me. Here's all of the us, all 7 billion and counting, yeah? Check this out. We are in that cellular membrane, and we are all sending these beams, all these thoughts to one another, okay? And we're also absorbing one another's thoughts, emotions. We're picking up on one another whether we like it or not. And so this is where I'd like to come into Ascension. And I'm going to kind of bounce off of the last video I did. So you're going to, if you watch the last video, you're going to see like very similar concepts of how I'm describing third, fourth dimensional planes of realities. And I'd like for you to grasp the concepts between the wobble, the collective and individual wobble that we go through when we're jumping these planes. And but we're going to get through the collective consciousness and the individual consciousness and ascension and the sun, the awareness and the light meaning consciousness. That's what I mean when I say that, blasting at us, and how to manage the wobble in between these jumps in consciousness. Okay, so collective consciousness. All right. If you watched my last video, I drew a line and drew the central sun over here. And to me, that is like a data processing center, and it also sends, like in the universe, it sends awareness. And like, I just want you to guys know, I also see more over here, and like there's these other sun, like very influential suns, stars over here that also kind of link up and send light. And this is where we're going to talk about the ascension process, and we're all in it. We are all in it. So this last diagram, here's our sun, and the central sun is beaming light through our sun, and our sun is raising its solar waves at us. Okay, here's Earth and all of her inhabitants, and you're going to see me draw this like cellular membrane around it, and this is representing the collective consciousness. And these are our collective thoughts, emotions, and spiritual wounds, as well as our spiritual quantum leaps together. All right, so hold on real quick. So just chew on that real quick. So Earth, Earth, Earth. And these are planes of dimensional frequency, where consciousness, oh, wrong color. So I'm drawing a square around the third dimensional consciousness, and I'm going to put a line through this because this is kind of where we collectively are graduating from. If you have jumping on board with processing and taking responsibility for your thoughts, emotions, spiritual wounds. And then we're making leaps into the fourth and the fifth. And again, I'm just stopping there. And the more you hang out with me, I'm going to be talking about more than just fifth dimensional consciousness. So I'm going to draw these little loops in between third and fourth. And we're going to call this, like, these are like the jumps that we do, meaning like paradigm shifts individually and collectively, as well as this is like harmonics, I guess, in music. And I don't know music. I'm not into music theory. But from what I can infer when I receive from the universe or source or God, if you will, and learn about these things, it's very similar to like change, like harmonics in music, and that's what allows these points, hold on, in between these planes to line up. And that is why we have the ability as interdimensional beings to experience, when we allow ourselves to experience life beyond the five senses. That's why we are able to travel in between these planes and experience higher than third dimensional consciousness. And I have a line through that because we are zapping that. we're getting out of there together, individually and together. All right. So when these plasma rays, and we have the solar flares, and we're all going through it. In the last video, I talked about how we're kind of like on the escalator. We used to collectively and individually, if your soul decided to choose, you chose your awakening process like further back, like within the last 20, 15, 10 years, we all kind of chose to come in and awaken differently, and that is at the soul level. But I've noticed that within the last 5 years, and especially the last 3, like boom, this collective consciousness here. And I'm just going to draw this like this. And I'm going to draw it like that, actually. Those lines are like spastic. It's like crazy. And I'm equating that with third dimensional consciousness, meaning we most of us were birthed in a time where our consciousness is higher, so soul is up here, but we dropped into physical form and we came into third dimension, and that's a lot of duality, war, internal war, a lot of static. Like, it's unnatural. It's unnatural for a lot of us who are at the soul level. Again, I talk about interdimensional and soul knowledge and soul wisdom, so bear with me. At the soul, we have memories and data where very, very similar, like when you, as above, so below, right? Let me draw that real quick. As above, so below. And again, the more you hang out with me, we're gonna work with sacred geometry. But as above, so below. Anyway, I lost where I was going. Oh, soul. Okay, thank you. So soul has data very similar to when we are born. The cells start recording our human experience, right? And that also leads us into the collective and individual consciousness. So when these rays start hitting the collective consciousness and the planet, especially in the center of the planet, okay? So it's more like it beams through, and this is how I see it, okay? It's more like it beams and it penetrates to the crystalline matrix in the center of the core, and then it shoots out. You see this? You see that, guys? What would it do to all of this static out here? Is it going to rock this energy field? That's, again, I have this ability to I just see a lot in my mind's eye, and I'm able to see outside the star system and in our solar system, and I'll share more of that with you and how that happened. But anyways, so the sun is linking up energetically, and then the earth is pushing up this energy as well, and we're also absorbing it outside exterior as well, and it's breaking up this static energy, okay? And what happens when if you've ever received like when you break a pattern? What happens when you break a pattern? Like, you have to process that, okay? It shifts your direction. Your mind, your ego might think that life, your human experience, is supposed to be a certain way, but you experience pain or trauma or extreme joy or something that your ego wants to kind of latch onto and judge that it's supposed to be like this, like very rigid and narrow. You have the spirit, if you allow, will allow you to open and broaden your perspective. Okay, so back to the collective consciousness, and I know you guys, thank you for hanging in here with me. I'm just kind of trying to walk through this with you. So when the static is breaking up, okay, the static in the collective consciousness and all of this realm and parts of this realm, fourth dimensional consciousness especially, and third dimensional, it's breaking up the static in these spaces. And we're going through the next harmonic jump. So when this static starts harmonizing and it's trying to reach a state of new equilibrium, So we're kind of like, we're doing this wobble. We're doing these quantum leaps individually and together. When we start managing and processing the static and reaching a vibrational space on the planet that is more in alignment with the fourth and fifth, and honestly, like, there's so much more higher frequencies that are coming in to weave the stability in between these planes as this drops out of existence. And I'm just going to put the ego right here because I'm going to talk about in a moment. The ego is freaking out as the static in the collective consciousness is breaking open for our freedom. And that is affected by the sun right now, as well as our soul choice and what we came in here to do, to take responsibility, to move and ascend with Mother Earth. Third dimension. Are you guys sick of war? I am. Are you sick and tired and just know that, like, on the inside, like, life is this beautiful, glorious adventure, and where the water is clean, and that we have technology that leads everybody through in a space of freedom and just beyond our collective wildest dreams, where our bodies regenerate, where we're at peace with ourselves and one another. And I have thought about this and known about this my entire life, and I cannot get away from it ever since I was a child. It's like I have been living in this experience, and I am not the only one that knows deep within, like, this is not a fairy tale. But I have come to learn that it's also interdimensional, but very physical and tangible as well. So when we are processing through the wobble, we also have our individual experience. And this is, I hope, what you will take today as well, is how your individual experience is linked up energetically with the collective consciousness. And you need to know that we are all shifting together, and we are processing not only our individual, excuse my language, crap, but we are also processing one another's stuff as well. So when the ego is going through wobble and you're getting hit with breaking up the static, I want you to know you are going through this void wobble. We are on a planet that is trying to create equilibrium every single day. Just like every single day, we're doing our best to manage what that means inside to be balanced. And one thing that I will say that I've learned on my path, that, like, balance is not like something like just consistent and it's always graceful and like the same. It's constant wonder and expansion and breaking down and growing, breaking down and growing, breaking down and growing. So it's like this teeter-totter, right? Like, for those of you who like skate, or you're like, or you snowboard, or you're just into athletics, where you have to be kind of mindful of your body awareness, okay? Like or the trees where they're blowing in the wind, like they're balanced, but they're still experiencing like little tiny shifts, right? And that is happening. Again, we used to be more on like steps. Now we're like on this escalator, and our ego is dropping the third dimensional plane and parts of the fourth dimension, more of the lower, and actually even lower parts of the fifth dimension. But I'm not going to go into that right now. So we're trying, and we are succeeding, good job guys, to harmonize between these planes. But we have to jump through the hoops, guys. We have to go through it. Now, going through it, what does that mean? Again, in the last video, I drew kind of the same diagram, and you'll see me draw it over and over and over. These are what I like to call little dust bunnies in the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, I'll redraw this, fields. And we're just going to keep it, again, simple. Four main fields: physical, mental, I'm going to do that, emotional, and spiritual, okay? These energy fields are part of the collective consciousness. It is not just you. It's you, but it's not just you. We are absorbing and transferring together, right? So when the planet is going through breaking up this static, which thank you very much for the sun, so we can graduate and experience life individually and collectively, dropping the third dimensional and jumping into the fourth and the fifth. This energy field is getting rocked physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And we are being called at the soul level to, and I'm not going to say just let it go, but to process to the best of our knowledge, to the best of our abilities. And I want you to get this little trick I've learned, that and I kind of explained it in the last video too, and I'll do this again. If you're kind of going in a pattern and you're on the hamster wheel and you're just running in circles and running in circles and running in circles, that is an indication that you need to look within and really start getting honest and vulnerable with yourself and the people around you. And anything that does not serve your physical body, your mental body, your emotional body, and your spiritual body, get out. Like, get out, because you are going to make it so much harder for yourself through this process if you don't start going within. So please go within physically. Like, so you guys, like, if you are struggling and trying to get through addiction, do your best to start cleansing out and clearing out. Like, these, the mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical planes, if you work on the physical, it's going to affect the mental, emotional, spiritual. If you work on the spiritual, it's vice versa. It's ripple effect. It's going to work on the emotional, mental, physical. If you just work on the mental, you're going to find divine inspiration. So don't make it complicated. But be open to know and be humble enough to know that, like, when you have reached a point to where you're not really expanding, so like, let's say like you're just focusing on the physical, and maybe you're just like more like physically, mentally, like that's you, but you know, like, oh man, like I really need to soften up. Allow yourself to start learning and merging with the emotional and spiritual planes. And that's getting kind of messy. And when you do that, you're naturally going to begin to clear your energy field. And guess what? That helps stabilize the collective consciousness. Yep. And the planet. And it makes this escalation a little bit easier for us individually and all of us to jump into the next plane. Because here's the thing. I'm going to talk about responsibility right now. We all have the responsibility. If you are here, time, space, and you are listening to this video, guess what? Somebody told you. You are responsible. If you've never heard this before, that you are responsible for how you think, how you process emotionally, how you relate to yourself and source, God, the universe at the spiritual level, and physically how you treat yourself, you are responsible for that. No more blaming. The blaming crap, that is what keeps us at war. the judgment crap, even self-judgment, that is what keeps us here. We are, again, we're wanting to cleanse out our dust bunnies. And I'm just gonna talk how many, again, I brought up addiction and just abuse. How many of you guys have like been in this static, this individual static, and it's just like, gosh, I just don't know what to do, and you're like wondering and seeking. You are seeking for yourself. And I'm going to draw this real quick. Here's your soul. And you have the awareness in your heart. The heart literally is a different vibration than the rest of your energy field. It's like a way crazy high vibration. And I'm not a scientist, so I don't know, Google it yourself. You have the ability, and so look, do you see how I drew that circle of the soul, like way bigger? It has a very high energy and a lot of data as well. Remember, as above, so below. All right. You are seeking yourself to clear up those dust bunnies. And guess what soul is in communication with? Oh, can we see that? Here, I'll just draw it over here. Soul is in constant, I'm just going to draw it like this. Soul is in constant communication with source. Yep. Yep. Easy. You just got to quiet down. Soul is in constant communication with source. It's actually more like this. One. And these dust bunnies, again, through the ascension process, we have the collective dust bunnies in the fourth and fifth and the lower aspects of the fifth dimension, and we're trying to bring these all through these quantum leaps and wobbles into equilibrium, and we're trying to harmonize these three planes into, hold on. Thanks, guys. Bear with me. My hands don't move as fast as my mouth. There we go. So we are trying to merge these planes. Not trying, we're doing it. But because they're of a different resonance vibrationally, and we are interdimensional beings, we are releasing the dust bunnies that connect us here, that connect us to the third dimension right now. So when you release these dust bunnies, that starts creating, this is the collective consciousness, and I'm going to just kind of like, we'll do something different. That starts creating just like peace and ease. And the more that you can do this for yourself, it's going to make it a lot easier for us to take these solar waves that are in light. Again, light, when I say that, I mean consciousness, higher consciousness, and that's something that you explore within, and that's something that you experience within and without. And that does mean your ego. All right, I wanted to talk about that. I kind of touched on it a little bit. Your ego is your identity, okay? And how you relate to identity, or no identity, or the shift in identity between these planes. So a lot of what's happening right now is this ego is getting tripped out, you guys. The ego is getting tripped out in between the experience of making these quantum leaps or these shifts in harmonic resonance between these earth planes or dimensional planes, and the consciousness that resides in these spectrums. All right, so I'm going to just draw that shorter, the third dimensional shorter. So you see that? So you have to, and this is what we are doing. Do you see how, like, the third in measurement is shorter than the fourth, and the fifth is way up here? The ego, look, you see that wall? Can only really perceive from there. And you see the fourth? Same thing, can only really perceive from there. But this is the cool thing. This, again, do you remember, like, source over here, and you and your soul knowledge? You are not limited to your five senses in the third dimensional experience. The ego right now is getting transferring as well, and you need your ego. It's definitely important as you create the experience and the energetic room. So that means clearing out the dust bunnies at the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual planes. Okay, and no matter what, you can choose the hamster wheel or you can spiral out. And I'm not going to go into the spiral today, but we'll do another video on that if I get feedback from you guys. And I touched a little bit on it. Well, hold on. You're going to cycle out through this, and the ego is going to, like, you guys who are, like, just into your awakening process, you might think like you might start entering, like, the honeymoon phase, like, oh my gosh, like, this is awesome, and then a lull, and then you hit one of these points, and you're like, oh my God, I thought I had it, I thought I did it, I thought I was on board, but oh my goodness, I hit one of these blocks. They're not a block. It's just a point in the spiral through our ascension where the third dimensional earth is spiraling and finding that equilibrium between the fourth and fifth and higher planes of consciousness that you have access to in your physical vessel through the heart and your soul connection. Okay, so I'm going to stop there, and I want to draw something just really, really quick. So a lot of you guys who are tuning in, thank you. I want to teach you just something real quick that maybe your left brain or your subconscious mind can explore. This is the soul star, okay? And then this is your crown chakra. Chakra means wheel in Sanskrit. We're gonna do it that way. Okay, and all of these are like vibrating, and they're spinning and they're collecting data. This is why being aware of, let's just start with the 7 basic chakra system. Even the soul star is not part of the 7 basic chakra system. This is your crown. Hold on. And then this is a human energy field, bioelectromagnetic field. And that, again, the bioelectromagnetic field is getting blasted by these waves at the individual and collective way. The soul star, you are going to want to meditate about 3 feet above your head. And even if you're not visual or anything, like just prayer and intention alone, like, I swear, you will be received by yourself. And don't forget, like, source, you know, is right here. like with you. It's source is there. So you're not like traveling outside of yourself, you're traveling inside of yourself to open up the room to merge, okay, the energy, so that way you can hear more of this database up here. And even the soul plane right now is getting cleansed and cleared out. But you're going to bring your soul star data down through the crown chakra, so the upper level chakras, down into the heart, down through the solar plexus and the root plane. And you guys, like, just so you know, like, our chakra system is not like limited to 7. Remember, we're like interdimensional beings. All right, here's a version of you, here's a version of you, here's a version of you. And you might be thinking like, Kira, what are you talking about? I'm just me. Well, has your consciousness shifted? Right? Remember those, the third awareness, the fourth awareness, the fifth awareness? Who are you? What do you experience? Who does that experience? These multidimensional selves. And the more that you pull in your soul awareness, you literally cleanse and clear out the physical, emotional, mental, spiritual planes. And the thing that, here's the deal, the awareness and consciousness has shifted so much that this is falling away. And again, we're going through those wobbles, or like the freakouts when our ego is like, oh my God, like I keep on bumping up against this and I don't know what to do and what's going on. Is it Mercury retrograde? Just a lot of really interesting introspections. But like, I want you to know, like, we are all doing our job. You have to go through this void space. There's no way around it. There's like literally energetically no way around it right now. If you're in a body, you are ascending individually, and we're doing this together. And again, I want you to think about bringing your soul star through the crown chakra down through the root plane, meeting, oh, we can't see that. Hold on. Meeting with the earth plane. Okay? So even if you just think, I'm bringing my soul star through me. And when you're doing that, you're bringing your soul knowledge, and you're naturally going to start waking yourself up. You're naturally going to start getting it. Just make the intention before bed. I'm merging with my soul star. I'm merging with my soul knowledge. I'm merging with this source and all these parts of myself that have this vast consciousness, this vast awareness. So that way, when these solar flares beam us and hit us individually, collectively, like, you make that jump way softer. So it's the comparison, like if you've ever like been a kid and you've ridden a bike and like you have those like hard, crunchy, rusty gears like on your bike, like you can make it like hard on yourself, or you can like oil and jump on board and have a nice, it may not be easy, but you can create ease in your ride, ease in your experience. So that way, when like you start processing something very physical, something emotional, something spiritual, and mental, just know like you might be absorbing the purge of the mental plane in the collective consciousness, the purge of emotions in the collective consciousness that go through you. It processes through you, and it's natural for you to want to escape, to run from pain, to run from the experience. But my dear, that is keeping you stuck here. It is natural for us to expand, but you got to break through it. You got to break through it. No more bullshit. Like, sorry, excuse my language, but no more bullshitting yourself. This is how you do it through. You have to create the energetic space, clear out the dust bunnies, within so you can hold the vibration of what is coming at us. Because, my dear, it is vast. And again, easy, smooth ride. Oil your gears in your bike, which is your vessel, mental, emotionally, physical, spiritual, or you can make it hard on yourself. And what will most likely manifest is dis-ease. We hear that a lot in the spiritual community, and if you're an energy worker and you have years of experience like I do working with people, or if you're like new, you will notice patterns. And that's something that I'll begin talking and sharing with you guys about too, is the patterns that I've seen with people. But that's not, we'll do that again. So thanks for hanging out with me. Again, Soul Star, pull it through. And if you're visual, I'm creating a gift for you guys on how to do this, and I'll lead you through meditation. So just real quick, I want you to know, where do those dust bunnies go? Here's the dust bunny to the central sun, and that central sun sends it back. Back to where? More processing. So that way this part of the universe in our time-space matrix expands. Life expands. Life loves to play. Life loves to experience new. Life loves, we love to let go. Okay? And let that letting go be easy, even if it is painful, even if you have to let go of people. I remember when I started going through my awakening process, I had so many people leave my life, and it was traumatic, and it was waves and waves and waves of trauma. And you know what? I started catching on, like, wow, there's something to this. I didn't read a book. I mean, I've had teachers that helped me, but inherently I have learned so much just by seeking myself and seeking the great heart and what is there and what is revealed. And if there's anything, again, you're going to hear this over and over and over and over. Go within. You have infinite knowledge. You have infinite wisdom, and that is accessed within you, through you. You have to allow yourself to be through the void and know that we are all processing this together, and we are making quantum leaps. These sun rays, these plasma waves are hitting us, and we're getting rocked. We're getting rocked. So rest, take it easy, let your identity and who you think and what you are fall away, integrate, and just find peace, like knowing that there's no more normalcy. Yes, society's there. The fabric of the third dimensional and parts of the fourth dimension are still there. They are in place, and it is uncomfortable at times for a spirit, but keep your mind in the high planes. Keep your heart in the high planes. Anchor with your soul and expand out. Keep on expanding out, and you guys are doing awesome. And how do I know we are doing awesome? Not only can we feel it, but we can see it. We can see the planet shifting. Yes, the media is like blasting the third dimension at us, but your soul knows the way. Jump into your heart, merge it with your mind, open your mind. Literally, open your mind. Ooh, little third eye open. Let the soul star come through the heart, through the earth plane, right? That's all I've got for you guys. And that's a mess. All right, thank you guys so much again. My name is Kira King, and again, I appreciate all the support that I'm already getting. This is unedited and raw. There you go. Love ya. Bye.